Okay, I haven't recorded for a couple of days. I got to finish up that sailor hat for you. I ran into a little bit of trouble with the floppy. I couldn't get it to fit right. I mean, I think it looks okay, but I think I need to tweak it before I give anybody the pattern. I just don't think it's right. But anyway, here's the hat. What I did is I made it reversible too, so you can wear it in either direction. So when you're stitching your hat, if you do an invisible stitch when you're doing the inside, same thing on the sailor's hat. If you do an invisible stitch when you insert the second part of the cap, you're just going to pin it in and you're going to cover that last row of stitches here with the inside cap part, and then just do a invisible stitch all the way around here, and you'll be able to reverse the hat both ways. So here is the floral side, and then all you do is just push the other hat up inside, and then you're able to wear it as a floral on the other side. So it just depends on how you want to do it, but you can make these reversible, completely reversible. On this one I put my seam down the center of one of the 5 triangles, and that way when I do put it in the front, same thing on the top pink, you have that right down the center. So it's up to you. I didn't do any top stitching because I kind of like the softer look. I didn't do any top stitching on the cap part of the hats. So anyway, this is where we were at the sailor's hat. I put in my 7 rows of stitching, so I got to this point. I've already finished one of these caps. And when you do these, and if there's too big of a hole in there, open up the top of your cap and you'll be able to find exactly where you can put a couple more stitches to seal that hole if you don't like it. So I don't know if you can see on camera or not, but I've got some stitches here that I can go a little bit farther on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up and I'm going to push everything to, is that the one I want to do? Yeah, you can find out which one's not exactly right, and that's that one right there. Okay, so then do that, take a pin and push all this out of the way, and then what we're going to do is we're going to sew a little bit higher on that top of that little cap there, and that way you'll be able to cover that hole if it's too big for you. So go ahead and put your machine at wherever it was. We'll just go to 3 and just do it right down the center. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try and close up that bigger hole that I wasn't crazy about. So I'm just going to line my stitching up directly with that. And I'm going to go all the way up past that spot where I didn't like that opening. Okay, so once you have that, now you're going to be able to look and see that that hole is gone now in that cap. Yep, I'm going to do it again. I didn't get in close enough. Let me go back to my regular stitching. Let me go back to my 1/4 of an inch and see if I can do it again. I didn't do that well. Okay, let's try it again. Okay, so get all the other caps out of the way, and then we'll just go up to the top. Okay, let's look at it now. Okay, very good. All right, so now we've got that. Get some here so I can see what I'm doing over here in the light. Yep, I just got a piece of thread here. Okay, so now that you've got that cap hole pretty much closed up the way you want it, we're going to go ahead and we're going to attach the first cap to our brim. So it's at this point you're going to decide, do you want your X to be in the front, your line to be in the front, or do you want to be just a triangle in the front? That's what I want. So I'm going to take my seam and I'm going to line my first seam up with my back seam on the brim. So I'm just going to put that right here and line it up. And then I'm going to go all the way around. You can open these seams if you want to. I did it on all of them. But you can iron them open also. Okay, so once you do that, you're going to sew all the way around here. You're just going to line it up all the way around the cap. And now your front part is going to be that triangle in front. So it's going to look like that. Okay, so just keep going all the way around. Pin it and sew it. Okay, I'm not going to sew this whole thing on camera, so I will show you on the green one what I did. Okay, so once I have this pinned and sewed, you're going to have to turn your brim, fold your brim down a little bit like this. It's going to be a little fluffy. So you're going to work it in. So work it in. Make sure you keep your cap straight and work in your, you're going to do that. It's even worse on the, floppy hat because you have a lot more folds there, a lot more flare on the brim than this one. So just keep going round and round. And one thing you should do before you even get to this point is when you get your first, before you sew your brim together, take one of these brim pieces and test it with your cap and make sure it fits properly. Because if it doesn't fit properly, you're going to have to adjust that brim so you can get it to fit properly. So if you've got some fabric that doesn't fit exactly right, it's probably because you pulled it a little tight in one spot. Because you're dealing with round fabric like this, or because you're dealing on it's sort of like bias, so that you might end up with a little, from pulling too hard, you might end up with a little too much stretch on one section or something that would cause it not to fit properly. Okay, so once you've got that, you're going to sew your 1/4 of an inch seam all the way around here. Okay, so then you're going to take your second cap, which I haven't finished yet. You're going to take your second cap and you're going to turn that wrong side out. You're going to turn it under 1/4 of an inch and you're just going to set it in there just like this. And then you're going to pin it down. You're going to pin it down right where those stitches are. See, I've got that stitch for where I sewed here. That's where I'm going to turn it under and I'm going to pin it. And then I'm going to do an invisible stitch. And then I'll be able to use this on both sides. Same with the, I did the same thing on this, so I can use it on this side or I can use it on this side. It doesn't matter because they're both exactly the same. And if you do that hidden stitch, you're never going to be able to see it. I mean, it's not as smooth as this one, of course, because you do this one by hand. But there you go. So there's the hats. And that's how simple a sailor's hat is. Okay, well, I'll talk to you later. Have a good one.